Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel and to Wednesday's follow-up video, where we got the tractor ready, we got the mill fired up a little bit to make sure everything was ready to go, and now we're just going to answer all the questions from that video. But I want to address last week's follow-up. I made some comments about the nasty comments and all that stuff, and I want to clarify that, which I did in a community tab post, but I'm sure many of you missed it. I don't care if somebody hates me or doesn't like what I'm doing. I find those comments rather amusing, and I like to point those out for others to enjoy as well. That's why I share them like I do and call them out. It isn't that it hurts me or whatever, but it is affecting other people in the world, other channels, as in the case of Daryl from Storage Wars. Well, he killed himself because of that hatred. I personally, I find it amusing. Hate me all you want. I don't care. I like I said, I laugh hysterically at almost every one of them because at the stupidity of them, the just the sadness of the commenter's life. All I can picture is how pathetic their life is that they have to hate me because I'm out here doing things that they'll never be able to do or incapable of or whatever. So if you gotta hate me, want to hate me, great, fine, have at it, enjoy it. Personally, doesn't affect me one bit. Couldn't care less. So let's move on to the questions. There were a lot of really, really good questions on that last video, Saturday's video with getting the mill ready. All right, I hope the sunlight isn't too bad and isn't screwing with the video too much, but let's dive into the questions. So the first one, and I just love these because it irks so many people. Is it a real crescent wrench or just an adjustable wrench? It is just an adjustable, but crescent is, that was the name everybody knows them by. So, no, it's just an adjustable wrench. Love the old tractors. When you replace the oil filter drain plug, are you going to put a magnet in that too? That one too? It would have to be a small magnet, but it might help some. Actually, what I'm going to do on these canisters, these IH canisters, is put rare earth magnets on the back side up by the block so you can't really see them. Because that plug would be it would be really, really too small. Or I could just set one down in the bottom next time I change oil. Either way. All right, this one, I get a lot of questions over the years about this, about leaving the blade out in the elements. So the circular blade looks good after sitting out all winter. Do you prep the blade for winter in any way? Wax, oil, silicone spray? In operation, do you coat it with to keep the pitch from building up? Nice video, thanks for sharing. No, we don't do anything at all to the blade. Once the roof is on, that's going to help some, but it isn't hurting it at all. There's a little bit of rust here and there, but hardly anything to even worry about. And then as far as oiling, no, that's a bandsaw thing. You don't oil these, you just run them. They never have an issue. The only time I ever had anything, I had my old blade had some dents in it, and we didn't know it until we started sawing oak, and it started to burn the sawdust to those dents, and that's how we found those dents. You couldn't tell, and then once we found that, then we could run our hand over it, and it's like, holy crap, it was actually dented. But as far as any kind of prep work, no, it doesn't hurt it. Keep it out in the elements like this, doesn't hurt it. When we're sawing, though, the heat from the sun will affect the blade. That's why when you see me start it up sawing in the sunshine, we let it run for a while, just to warm up the hydraulics, but also to cool the blade, to keep the air moving across it. It does make a difference. So once the roof is on, that's going to make a huge difference in the way it cuts as well. All right, this one, and then there was a lot of these. The rubbish in the bottom of the oil filter canister could just be sawdust that got into the system. Not likely. What it actually was paraffin oil. The wax in the oil. That's what it was. It just kind of collected in there. And I got thinking about it, and I didn't change oil last year. I did the year before. I didn't last year. And the year before it was good. So I think it was just from, I went too long. Ran it too long. When we run it hard. But, and that's not the most expensive oil in the world. It's okay oil. It's great. It works good, but it's not the best. So yeah, getting on that, changing it every year and keeping on top of that. There were a few comments about how it could be just crap breaking loose in the engine. We went through that. So mostly rebuilt the whole top end. The radiator crumbled on the tractor when taking the head off because we had a bad valve. from the previous owner. So I've had it 10, 12 years now, and it's been a great tractor, but I had to have the head completely rebuilt. And when we opened it up, it had M&W power pistons in it. So we know the bottom end had been gone through. It's tight. There was no issues there. So we just kind of left the bottom end alone, but I may drop the pan yet just to take a look. But the top end under the valve cover was fairly clean when he opened it up to do the head on it. So it's possible it's stuff breaking loose still. I mean, we're running detergent oil, and I've been running a detergent oil in it since I got it. So 10, 12 years, it should have flushed most of that out. But like I said, I didn't change oil last year. I got thinking about it, and it's like, oh, that was dumb. So I gotta get better about that. Keeping track, I'll just write the date on stuff. Are you able to control the speed of that carriage fairly well? Oh yeah, very well. I have a fine tuning valve that sets my feed rate going this way, and then it's wide open going this way. And on Saturday's video, if I get it all edited up and finished, I will show that. We'll do a full comprehensive look at the mill, the whole thing, how it's built, how it's all works, and hopefully that'll give answers to all the questions as far as that goes. What are you going to do with all that wood? Whatever I want. Carl's been using a lot of it at his place. He's been stockpiling because he wants to build a new house, and by Wisconsin law, he can do that with rough sawn lumber as long as I sign off on it, because I hold a Wisconsin local use dimensional lumber grading certificate. So I can grade the lumber for him to use in residential construction. So that's kind of a win-win for both of us. We got a place to burn it up. We're enjoying it. We enjoy sawing. It's a great workout. It's a lot of fun. And we get the materials to do whatever we want with. So that's the plan. And to finish up the sawmill shed. As you see, they did the siding. Got to do the siding over here. Got to do the roof yet. We got a lot of work. So a lot of use for the wood. All right, this one is a good one. Is it possible to run the sawmill with the flat belt from the Super M instead of the PTO? Absolutely. Absolutely it is. Problem is I got to get the belt pulley on there, and I want to make changes to all this drive shaft and everything before we get to that point. And then somebody else commented back to this guy, the long-term plan is to run the flat belt from the steam engine. So yes, that it is the plan. It is the plan. Flat belt off the steam engine for sure. But with the PTO, it's so easy. It's so good that way. I have no problems there. This one, it looked like water coming out of the petcocks. So yeah, a couple people had commented the oil looked like water coming out of the tricocks. They're tricocks, T-R-Y, not T-R-I, try. So you try them. Yeah, the water oil is very clean that I was putting in. It looked hard to see. It was very hard in the video to see the yellow of it, but it was yellow. Can we expect a battery changeout video on the Farmall F12? And he checked the pressure on the right side tire. A slow leak for sure. No, not a slow leak. Okay, well, back to the battery changeout. No. No battery on that, unfortunately. It's a Magneto, so no battery. But as far as the tires, I am replacing those front tires at some point coming up. I just acquired another Farmall M with, I believe it's a full IH wide front. So we're going to swap out the wide front onto mine, get rid of the narrow front. I don't like narrow front tractors. I don't mind them, but I don't care. The F12 is the exception. That thing is just cool. So yeah, we're going to put new tires on the front of the Super M for sure. How often do you have to sharpen the blade on the mill? In this pine, not very often, unless we hit something. And I do have a saw grinder that kind of sits on there and it does a great job. I have two different ones. I have a hand crank one that I need to rebuild that my friend Dale gave me. Because Dale bought a new jockey, and then I've got an older Andrus electric one that the neighbor gave me when he quit sawing and we started using mine. So I got Ken's that we use, and then I've got that old hand crank one that I want to rebuild. So that'll be a coming up video probably next winter when things settle down a bit. Is the crescent wrench imperial or metric? I think it's British. I don't know. Heck, it could be some alien thing. I don't know. But it works on all of them. I don't care. So again, another question. Do you need to use any oil or lube on the rusty blade when you start sawing? Is there a lubrication difference between pine and hardwoods? That's a bandsaw thing. That's another reason I don't like bandsaws. You're administering oil, or well, some guys use water, but hydraulic fluid usually. I don't like bandsaws. Absolutely hate them. They don't cut good. They, unless they're the big ones, 4-inch wide band and up. But no, no lubrication. All right, here's one. How come the mill has no conveyor near the blade? The sawmills that do YouTube videos on YouTube all have belts to take the cuts away. Well, those are commercial built mills that are made for, morons. You're going to hire low wage idiots to work them. You're going to want to get that wood away from the people that don't know how to be safe. This mill is made the way they all were up until probably about the 1950s, 1960s, when idiots started coming in the workforce. So I built it the way I wanted it. I don't need that extra crap. A lot of people suggest a log turner. I don't want one. It's extra crap. Don't need it. We enjoy the way this works, and we enjoy using it the way it is. In fact, the mill I learned the most on had no outfeed roller table like this. It was just off the husk, and you picked it up. That was it. So at least we have this. This is handy. Another one about taking the blade off the mill in the winter, and nope, there's no point to it. It's just fine, especially once I get the roof over it. They're more concerned about thinking, he mentioned here he was thinking about it, how that you could possibly damage teeth by taking it off, and yeah, you very well could. The only thing that would be beneficial for taking it off and on, a few times a year is to keep the threads, clean and loose and readily easy to take off. Because I know when we took the blade off the neighbor's mill, when we found my blade that had the dents in it, we had a hard time getting that blade off because he hadn't had it off in years. A long time. Very long time. Is it always windy over in Wisconsin, or just this year in particular? Probably that black goo is some stuff inside the engine that has come loose after working it behind the sawmill. I would just weld new corners to the plug and keep using it. Can't wait to see the cutting of that white pine. All right. How do I address this one without putting on my tinfoil hat? I've kind of paid attention to these weather changes over the years, and again, I need a tinfoil hat. The more wind turbines they keep putting up, the more I notice changes. And if you think about it, you watch those things in the fog or in the rain, the turbulence behind them is something else. And I don't know if there's any truth to this. It's just a theory, a working theory I have. I'd love to know the truth. Are these things causing artificial weather because they're creating that excess turbulence, that different pattern out beyond them? Who knows? It could very well be the cause, or I could just be nuts and need to put on my tinfoil hat. That's what I'm thinking. But I definitely know that the weather has changed drastically in the last 10 to 15 years up here. Drastically. A few more comments about the crescent wrenches and the stuff in the oil filter base there. This one being a glob from the non-detergent days breaking loose, and it's maybe, but it could just be the paraffins. Like I'm pretty sure it was paraffins. It was non-magnetic. It didn't pick up. Everything was pretty good there. All right, here's one. Why should the lower oil cock be opened when refilling, as the top one indicates full? The bottom one tells you to add oil when nothing comes out. I opened them both. The lower one as a early warning of when to slow down pouring. So if you just leave the top one open and you're pouring, and then all of a sudden it starts coming out, well, you still got all that oil that's running down the galley getting down in there. Yeah, you're going to overfill that engine. So opening the bottom one gives me an early warning, tells me I got 2 quarts to go. So I can slow down on this and just pour a little at a time until it's full. Simple as that. We did also have a few suggestions of pouring some diesel fuel and running it with, in the oil for a while to loosen stuff up. And I've done that in the past. It does work really well. Also, a quart of automatic transmission fluid works really well as well for that. So there are things I've done over time. But there is one question I'm going to go back to. Tell us about the Case tractor. Let's head over there. All right, I hope the lighting is good, but this is not a Case 20 as it is labeled. I don't know who did that. That's the way I got it. I bought it off a friend of mine for 600 bucks. And it did not have duals on it. I added that. It did not have the wide front. I added that. But it has been a great little tractor, and I worked the snot out of it. But the whole reason I put the duals on was in this sand, you'd be pulling a load of that trailer right there that my dad and my grandpa built 40 years ago, roughly. I still have it. It's built from grandpa's old manure spreader frame and a 60 Chevy truck box. I still load that thing up with oak. And we would start pulling that thing with this tractor, and it would start digging with the singles. And it would dig down till the drawbar was in the dirt. But it would keep on going like it was plowing. And this thing would dig. And, I mean, it's a great little tractor. Pulls wonderful. Eventually it'll get painted. I have a plan. But... and hydraulic steering. I'm going to put hydraulic steering on it because I have the VAC case hydraulic pump that bolts to the magneto drive right here. But been a great little tractor. I also added the belt pulley to it because it wasn't there when I got it. So yeah, been a neat little tractor. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, putting the duals on was a big bonus. And then I came across a nice wide front. Row crop wide front, and I just love this little tractor. It's a lot of fun. So hopefully that answers what you were wanting to know about this tractor. It's a VAC case. And while we're here, this is the old wood trailer. This thing's been around. It's been beaten. I mean, those tires were the ones that were on the spreader when Dad and Grandpa built this thing. So those tires are probably 50, 60 years old and still holding air. Actually, I run about 90 pounds in them. They got a tube. And that's the only way I can do a load of oak. And we stack it out here on the tailgate, high up, and then we fill this thing. And I've had this thing heaped up to where you couldn't throw the oak up any higher. And that's when I started digging like that. But that little tractor will pull. It'll pull. So, been a great trailer. Well, I hope that answers everybody's questions. As I said, follow-up videos, I know a lot of people don't like them, and a lot of people love them. So we're just going to keep doing them because there's a lot of questions that just cannot be answered properly in the main video. Or I don't think of these questions, and you guys are asking some amazing questions. And this is just a good way to address them in good detail. So if you like the follow-up videos, keep watching. They're going to keep coming as long as I can do them if I don't get too busy. If I get too busy, then we might have to do something a little different. But lots of cool stuff coming yet this year. Got a couple machining videos, but this next weekend I'm hoping to have the sawmill, go through it, do that full comprehensive look at everything so you guys can see how it is actually built and how it works. And it is quite a lot of engineering went into this thing. It took me 8 years to build it. So with that, until next time, get out in your shop and get it done right the first time.
Too dumb to quit, too proud to cry, still grinding steel under a fading sky. The last machine shop in a frozen hell, just me and a dream I can't seem to sell. Too